driven hours to join us today. And welcome internationally, you guys. We are being webcast around the world today. So we welcome all of our international individuals. So my name is Debbie Zito, and I love LifeVantage. You know what, you guys, it literally changed my life. We're going to talk a little bit about biohacking today and why I'm a biohacker. Before we get started, I want to thank everybody. It's lots of time and energy put in this event, so I appreciate all of you so much. I'd also like to welcome all of our biohackers in the audience. If you are with LifeVantage and taking our products, I'd love for you to stand up. Dr. Goodman, I'm going to have you take a picture. Oh, I love it. Okay. Everybody raise your hands and stretch a little bit. Woo! We're going to get a picture. This is my favorite part at every event. Fellow biohackers, I love it. Okay. Woo! You know, we have something incredible in our hands. All those hands up today, they're here today because they've seen life-changing events, whether it's personally or in their families. We're excited about this. So first thing I want to do, we love to celebrate life, right? And celebrate the people that are here. And I love to give out prizes. So I would love for Tara Gordon. Tara, are you here? She was our very first guest that signed in this morning. Tara, if you want to come up, we have a prize for you. Tara's from Jessup, Georgia. So she drove an hour in the rain this morning. So we're excited to have her here. So let's move forward. Do you want to get one right over here? Grab one of those beautiful colored packages. This is Team LifeVantage, you guys. So this may be the single most important health presentation of your life. We're going to go over the Biohacker's Guide to Health and Wellness. And we like to just say a disclaimer that we don't make any claims to cure, treat, or mitigate any disease or illness. So I'd like to introduce our next speaker this morning. This is Abby Drury. Abby is a great friend and a LifeVantage team member, and she's amazing. She has an amazing story, and she's here today because she's had an incredible passion with our products, but life-changing events too with her family. So she's a clinical nurse educator. She's been involved in a variety of practices in immunology, hepatology, and dermatology. So Abby Drury, come on up. Welcome this morning.
All right, Jill, I want to check with you. Are you good? All right. Hey, guys, I'm so excited that each and every one of you are here with us today. This journey actually began for me 16 months ago. And wow, what an incredible, incredible journey it has been. What this company and these products have done for my family is indescribable. They actually brought together for us a piece of a puzzle that we had been searching for a very, very long time. Today, we're going to present the science and the journeys of lives that have been changed. Woo! That gets your energy up for the day. I'm so excited to introduce to you our medical panel. Our first panelist is Dr. Neil Goodman. Dr. Goodman is a board-certified pediatrician in adolescent medicine. He is also a member of the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Anti-Aging and Medicine, and also the Institute of Functional Health. Nope, not yet. Not ready for you yet. Our next, our next panelist, and you guys, I practiced this a lot in my car, and I made up their own stuff because I didn't have their slides. So how funny is it? I was like, I hope I don't say what I really said your title was in my car. All right. So our next panelist is Debbie Zito. She is a board certified pediatric physician assistant, and she's also an international board certified lactation consultant. And we are so excited to have Dr. Brad Goodman join us today, all the way from Savannah, Georgia. Before I even go any further, I know you are all thinking that they are related, right? Are you guys related? Anyway, that's your brother? Brother from a different mother. So we just wanted to make sure that everyone knew they were not related. And we are so excited that Brad joined our team a little over a year ago, or right at a year ago. Dr. Brad Goodman is certified in allergy and board certified in allergy, immunology, and also pediatrics. All right. So moving right along. All right. So you guys, this is so amazing that we have this medical panel with us today. But what you really need to know is that these are just a few of thousands of medical professionals involved with LifeVantage. And there's a reason for that. What separates our company from any other company is the science. And we could probably talk for hours and hours and hours about that science, but today we're going to simplify that for you and put it in simple terms so that you can understand it and also share these products and this company with someone else. So we're going to move to their next slide and get them going. Is this where you start? All right. So Dr. Goodman, we have a lot of questions that came in, and we really wanted to open this up to everyone so that you guys felt involved. And so one of the questions is, you know, a lot of us know what the little yellow pill is, or it's the buzzword that we've heard. So Dr. Goodman, could you please explain to us exactly what that little yellow pill is? And, you know, I've come to find that it's involved in such a bigger picture. Can you describe to everyone what that bigger picture is?
All right. Well, thank you, Abby. I'm going to put this microphone down for just a second and take this jacket off if you don't mind. It's a little warm in here. All right. Well, this little yellow pill that everybody's talking about, and those that know about it, it's not little. It is yellow, but it's so much more powerful than what anybody might potentially say about it. And I think this belays the information that I'm trying to get to here to try to explain why it's so powerful. And, you know, we're being a little coy about it when we're talking about the little yellow pill. It has a name, it's Protandim Nrf2, and it is exceptionally powerful. And I'm going to describe that right now. I think to understand the science behind the little yellow pill, you have to understand that there are relationships having to do with oxygen. I'd like everybody just to take a big, deep breath. Okay, that's a lot like that first breath that you took when you were born. You needed oxygen to be born and you're living your life, but it's that very oxygen that's also responsible for our aging process and also ultimately culminates in our demise. And I know it's a strong statement to say, but the air that you breathe is only 21% oxygen. Any higher than that is really pretty toxic. And in children, it actually can lead to blindness if they're exposed to oxygen for too long. So we need it, but it's also the very thing that's killing us. And that's a pretty powerful statement. I don't think most of us really understand that. So what does it do? Well, it oxidizes. That's in the name, oxygen, right? And it oxidizes metal. It turns it to rust. It corrodes aluminum. But it's doing the same thing to our cells, slowly but surely. It causes them to wrinkle. It causes them to age. They start to break down. Ultimately, you start getting joint inflammation. You start feeling sore in the morning. And finally, if you have enough damage to your body, disease and later cell death. All right, so just like this apple that's exposed to oxygen, it starts to change even in a matter of minutes. It's flesh and we're flesh, and it's showing the effects much more quickly than it does in our body, but the mechanism is the same. And this is due to damage due to oxygen particles that we call free radicals. So free radicals Our body makes free radicals by the millions every second. And those free radicals wreak havoc on our body, our DNA, and our cellular material till finally they decompensate. And you reach a point in life where it starts to take its toll. So this happens, again, the common denominator is oxygen. So let's just refer to free radicals as the bad guys. Keep it simple. All right, so what do we do about it? Well, here's the battle. You have oxygen and you have antioxygen, right? Antioxidants. We're all told to take antioxidants. That's the solution. And your body has antioxidants. They were given to you at birth. They're in every one of your 37 trillion cells, in your eye cells, in your hair cells, in your heart cells, in your muscle cells, everywhere. And those internal antioxidants have names, and they go by the name of SOD, and you don't need, actually there's a quiz at the end. I told them not to quiz you, okay? Just know that there's three, and they're exceptionally powerful. They're called SOD, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase. We need these. This is what we're born with. This is our defense mechanism against free radical damage from the moment you're born. Now, you can't really, up to this point, have done anything about it, but everyone tells you take antioxidants, right? So we do that by drinking wine, maybe, eating kale, broccoli, all those good things that everybody told you was good for you because they have antioxidants. The problem is that those antioxidants are so weak compared to the antioxidants that your body is able to make that essentially they don't do much. All right, so antioxidants are the good guys. We got a battle. Bad guys, good guys, okay? All right, so when the amount of the bad guys exceeds the amount of the good guys, that is the definition of oxidative stress. It's a simple thing. We don't need oxidative stress. This is our enemy. It's taking a toll on our bodies and causing us to age. So in fact, it's linked to over 200 diseases, perhaps even more than that. So if you look at this diagram just shows that in the center is oxidative stress. And you can also say that it is linked to inflammation, but all of those organ systems that you see there, the heart, the lungs, the joints, the brain, these are all affected by oxidative stress. Because remember now, this occurs in every cell of your body. So of course, all organ systems are going to be affected by it. So we want to stop that. So my job up to this point, and Dr. Brad Goodman's job, Brad, I really didn't know you before, right? I mean, you weren't born in my family, right? Okay. What I've done and what we've done as medical doctors is we've treated these organ systems with drugs. So Brad would use an inhaler or a breathing medicine for people who had asthma. And I would use, for example, Ritalin perhaps in patients who had ADD. This is our medical treatment. But maybe in fact, there's a better way to do this. Maybe what we should be doing is reducing the amount of oxidative stress in the whole organ system, the whole body. And if we could do that by increasing those internal antioxidants that we were born with and bringing them back online, then we would have a solution that is much easier. And that is what we're talking about with Protandim Nrf2. Okay, so why is that? Well, we have 46 chromosomes. All of our chromosomes have been mapped. We pretty much know what everything does now due to the gene mapping program that occurred some 10 years ago. And in those 23 pairs of chromosomes, you have to know that only 20% of your chromosomes are expressed at any one time. 80% of them are dormant. They're not doing anything. They formed you, and now they're quiet. And you can bring them back online by biohacking, okay? Using nutrigenomics, the science of nutrigenomics. So who here takes vitamin C because they know it's good for them? Raise your hand, please. All right, who drinks wine, not to get a buzz, but because they know that it has a chemical in it that's good for the heart? Who drinks wine purposely for that purpose? Okay, you guys are all biohackers. You're all making an improvement in your own self by putting food that is code for your body into you to affect a change. You're a biohacker, okay? So the other option is just be hijacked. be hijacked by all the bad things that happen to our body. Exposure to pollution, exposure to chemicals, bad eating, all those things, stress. They all have a toll on our body and they accelerate this aging process. So these 23 pairs of chromosomes each have a gene, okay? And these genes code for two particular things that I'm going to bring your attention to if you didn't know about it before. If you leave with nothing else today, it's with the knowledge of what NRF2 and NRF1 is. NRF2 and NRF1 are messenger proteins in our DNA that code for proteins and enzymes that are part of our survival mechanism. And they do amazing things. They code for cell survival and regulation of cellular recovery. Okay, this is not in question. This is absolutely documented science. You can go to pubmed.gov and read the literature and see how NRF2 is involved in almost everything and anything that having to do with oxidative stress and cell recovery. So it's amazing. So biohacking is reality now. All right, so again, I said use food and affect those genes. So that's what we're doing with Protandim. So, you know, the food industry doesn't care what your health is. And the medical industry, prior to the knowledge that I was given in medical school, didn't really care about food. So what we're trying to do with LifeVantage and with these products is we're trying to change that paradigm. We're trying to use NRF2 to affect our better outcome and make us better than we are, okay? All right, so if you were to take a direct antioxidant, meaning a supplement, kale, broccoli, wine, vitamin C, one molecule of an antioxidant gets rid of one free radical. And I said, we make millions. It's a losing battle. It's like putting out a fire with a Dixie cup. Okay? Now, when you activate your internal cellular mechanism, remember, you're talking to all 37 trillion cells simultaneously. You have activated a DNA sequence in your body that actually tells your body to make antioxidants by the millions to compete with those free radicals that are being generated in the millions. Now you stand a chance. All right, so that's the difference between supplementation and activation. 1,000,000-to-1 ratio versus 1-to-1 ratio. It's unbelievable that we even have this available to us. And I'm able to talk to you about it and explain this to you so that you can take home how, like I said, this little pill is so powerful, and it belays the science by saying it's such a small diminutive thing, this little yellow pill, as though it was nothing. It's not candy. It's powerful science. It's more even than some drugs. So this is Protandim. All right, so how do they do this? Well, science was studied years ago, and they came up with formulations for which they got 7 patents to show that if you could put certain organic compounds from food together in a specified ratio, you could actually create 1,800-fold increase in NRF2 activation than any one of those individual components by themselves. So what's in Protandim is ashwagandha root, bacopa extract, green tea extract, milk thistle. These are all things that have been used for years individually, but really, they didn't really know what they were doing with it and why it worked. We understand what it does. They're all NRF2 activators in their own right, but together and combined, they're amplified. And that's what is the little yellow pill. Okay, so essentially, Protandim NRF2 lowers your oxidative stress by 40%, 40% from what it was before you started it. And that occurs within 30 days of taking it in almost everyone who's ever taken it. That's from age 20 to age 78 is where the testing was done. And this was repeated and was peer-reviewed and studied in the literature that was published at NIH and at the National Institutes of Aging. This is not just like, you know, TV science that you see on TV that they say it's good for your brain, et cetera, et cetera. This is studied stuff. And that's what separates this product from every other product on the market. The patents are there, the studies are there, the backup is there. You have doctors on board with this that absolutely believe in the product, okay? The thing is, it is a food, considered a food. It is not considered a drug. It is approved by the FDA to reduce oxidative stress by 40% in everyone who takes it. That's an FDA certified statement. All right, so again, you could eat 375 oranges. You could have 87 glasses of wine. You could have 11 pounds of blueberries. That would equal 1 Protandim. That's the power. You couldn't possibly eat that without getting sick. All right, so here's the graph. This is what shows what happens in oxidative stress, okay? Oxidative stress goes up from age 20 to age, 80? That's without Protandim. That's that red bar. And after Protandim, it's flatlined, okay? From age 20, I mean, basically, you've brought down your aging process back down to the level of a 20-year-old, and your healing process, too. It's unbelievable. All right, so if your body was a piano and a keyboard, and it played good notes when it was young, this is what the notes would look like. They'd be nice and smooth, nice smooth bar histogram. But this is what happens to our piano. It's aging, okay? It's not performing as well, and it becomes discordant, and the notes don't sound as well. You're out of tune. This is what all of your genes, now actually this is a picture of 63 genes out of 400 genes that Protandim affects. We only talked about the 3 antioxidants, glutathione, SOD, and catalase, but there's 400 things that Protandim affects. This is just a picture of 63. Look what happens. This is before Protandim. You have some that are low, you have some that are high, and this is after Protandim. It smooths it all out. It retunes that piano just like as though you were 20 in terms of what your cells are doing to talk to the rest of your body, okay? You may not necessarily feel it, but this is what's happening. All right, so Washington State University in 2015 said, this is potentially the most incredible, extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. And I promise you it's that. And you are the first audiences to know about it, and those that are already using it are on the cutting edge. All right, so just real briefly, summation, put it into a few words. We reduce oxidative stress by 40% by taking a natural substance that comes from nature, not from man. It's not a drug. Don't take antioxidants, make them. You have much more potential to do that. It fights free radicals 1 million to 1 versus 1 to 1. Increases SOD, catalase, and glutathione, and drops your oxidative stress, as I said. It activates over 400 other survival genes that maybe nobody told you about. And the last thing is it helps the body to detoxify and helps you remove the trash from years of accumulation of whether it be purposeful or inadvertent damage and injury to your body and to the cells from years of just living. So essentially, that's the little yellow pill.
Stay right here. I think I may have a couple of questions for him. So first, I want to say hello to Around the Globe. We are so excited that you're joining us today, and we just wanted to give you a little shout out. All right, Dr. Goodman, I'm a nurse. But some of those words, I felt like when I first heard them, I was like, there's no way I can't say this stuff. I can't say it the way he says it, right? So basically, if I take that little yellow pill, it's going to do the same thing as if I went and drank 87 glasses of wine?
Yes. without the buzz.
Oh, so I'm not sure I could handle 87 glasses of wine, but I could definitely take that little yellow pill. All right, so I have another question for you. What you showed on here is it's going to lower my oxidative stress. Is it going to do that immediately, or is there like some type of time frame I need to give myself to get all that junk cleaned up inside of me?
Okay, that's a great question. It doesn't happen immediately. You've got years and years of accumulation of injury and damage that your body has to remove and detoxify. It takes time. Within a month, you'll drop your oxidative stress by 40%, but you can drop it as low as 70% over time, the average being 1 month for each decade of life that you live. So if you're 70 years old, it's going to take you at least 77 months in order to bring your levels down to the level of a 20-year-old. Now, that doesn't say that you're going to feel like a 20-year-old. It's happening internally. It's not something that you necessarily feel. You just have to know that it's going on. And if you were to actually do biochemical markers, measures, pre and post, you would probably see the benefits that we're talking about. Most people aren't going to do that. Most people just want to know what to do. Tell me what to take that I can get to that state. And some amazing things have happened with people who have taken Protandim Nrf2. And I think you may hear some of those stories later.
All right. Thank you very much. So we're going to move into the next pillar of health, which is our cellular health. And that has to deal with our mitochondria. So Dr. Brad Goodman, could you please come explain to us what the mitochondria is and exactly what does the NRF1 pathway have to do with it?
I will do my best. Thank you, Abby, and thanks for having me. And yeah, I would like to talk a little bit about mitochondrial function, okay? And what the NRF2 does is different than what I'm going to be talking about, which is the NRF1, okay? So the NRF1, as Dr. Neil, my brother, already mentioned, NRF1 is going to be one of the other key regulatory proteins, okay? But this one, rather than affecting oxidative stress, is going to work on mitochondrial function, okay? So the mighty mitochondria, okay? I hate these things here. Mighty mitochondria, is this too close? Good, okay. So the mitochondria are basically the energy producing cell or organelles in our body. So the mitochondria are what is responsible for all of our energy production, okay? So these strong organelles, which are found inside our cells, okay, are responsible for producing energy that is utilized by our body. Now, the main energy that is produced by the mitochondria is something called ATP. So that's adenosine triphosphate, okay? Now, this is important for the cellular machinery to run appropriately because you have to have the proper energy for your cell to run, okay? So what happens is with this production of the appropriate energy, then we have support of heart health function, muscle growth, and it maintains normal body activity and brain function. No problem. This is actually a diagram, okay, that kind of depicts all of the potential functions of the mitochondria, okay? Now, there will be a test on this at the end of it. So you might want to get your phones out and take yourself a picture. Basically what this is, and what this is to show is that there is a tremendous amount of effects that the mitochondria are responsible for. Now, again, you really don't need to know these, but just know how important the mitochondria are to proper and appropriate cellular function. And what we're talking about here again is trying to improve our overall cellular health, okay? So again, as Dr. Neil already alluded to, sometimes we may not feel the effects of this, but we have to know that we are by taking some of these products, we are stimulating our cells to function more appropriately and to be able to get the best out of our cells that hopefully are going to help us in cognition, in overall general health, improvement with mood, and improvement with just general function, okay? So what happens when the mitochondria start to decline, okay? Well, what happens is, and many of this is due to the oxidative stress and the oxidative effects that Dr. Neil has already spoken about. Okay, so what happens is, and what you see here is this kind of depiction of kind of a sick mitochondria. Okay, really should be the other way, so it's like not smiling and it would be like sad. Okay, so but what you see is this is a mitochondria that is about to die. Okay, and when this mitochondria dies, it cannot produce the energy that the cell needs, and consequently, what will lead to is things like poor aging. Okay, now back to the whole free radical concept, okay? So the free radical damage is what is responsible not only for the oxidative stress, but also is doing the damage to our mitochondria in the cells. So basically what these free radicals do is they act like miniature hurricanes inside of our cell, and they're basically destroying our cell. So what they do is, first they destroy the nucleus, okay, which is, the nucleus is basically the general of the cell. So they're providing all the network for the cell to function appropriately. But again, you must have the mitochondria, which provide the energy for the cell to function appropriately. So without this energy, the nucleus cannot do what it needs to do, and consequently, that's going to lead to consequences such as disease. So we see a decrease in the DNA, and then we see a defect or killing off of the mitochondria. So if you look at the inside of a cell, okay, what this is depicting is you see the mitochondria. I don't know where the pointer is. I shouldn't have done that. Sorry. I didn't get a tutorial on the pointer. That's okay. Y'all needed a break anyway. Which is the pointer?
It's live. Right? Pointer is on the laser pointer is there.
I got it now. Okay. Sorry, guys. So back to it. So what we have here is we have our cell. Okay. We have the mitochondria. Now this cell here actually has just 3 mitochondria. Okay. I'll get there. So we have the 3 mitochondria here. Now many cells will have up to several hundred mitochondria. So the cells that have more function, such as your brain or your muscles, okay, they're going to have more mitochondria. But what's happening here is, what happens when these mitochondria get killed? Well, basically this cell, okay, still has its integrity, but it doesn't have any energy for the cell to function. So consequently, what happens is that this cell basically dies. And this cell is dying from the inside out, okay? And hopefully, by taking some of these supplements that we're talking about, we can prevent this type of free radical damage. Now, what this leads to clinically is, if we have decreased mitochondria, we get decreased metabolism, okay? If we get decreased metabolism, we have decrease in energy production, which can lead to things like weight gain. It's also very important in the immune system in terms of energy equates to healing. If you don't have the proper cellular machinery and the proper energy for your cells to function, then you don't heal appropriately, okay? This can contribute to illnesses and even can be a trigger for things like cancer. You also, more importantly, and probably the most important of all, the mitochondria are very important for brain health, okay? So thinking, emotion, and concentration all go down as our mitochondrial function decrease. And what this will lead is to something called clinical brain fog, where you just don't feel like you can think very well. Now, so what should we do about it? Okay, well, what we should do about it is we should consider the use of the NRF1, which is the other Superman. This is the other superhero, okay? Because what we've already said is this increases the number of mitochondria, which in turn protects the mitochondria from damage. It supports cellular rejuvenation. It supports the production of ATP, which leads to improved brain function, improved heart health, and improved blood cell formation, okay? So basically, it improves cellular metabolism as a whole. What is found in NRF1 are several different ultra pure, much like all of the other LifeVantage products, okay? Herbal type supplements, okay, which are usually found in things like foods. But what these are is acetyl L-carnitine, quercetin, grape extract, alpha lipolic acid, and coenzyme Q. And these are all found in this, and this proprietary blend is what makes the NRF1 work so well. So in summary, what we have is the benefits of the NRF1: increased cellular energy, improves performance, enhances sleep, boosts mitochondrial production and the ability for the mitochondria to communicate and network, and slows overall cellular aging by supporting chromosomal integrity. So we call this the 1-2 punch. Okay, this is the combination of the NRF1 and the NRF2, and these are found as two of the components of the 4 components of our vitality stack, which you will hear more about as we continue.
So basically what you're saying is my mitochondria in my cell is kind of like a car engine. And if my car engine goes kaput, then my car doesn't crank, right?
You got it.
So if I can improve my cellular energy, then my cells move faster, they have more energy, they're doing what they're supposed to in the body for me to function correctly.
And they're more efficient. And I would say, just as an aside, I had surgery a week ago. Okay. I had inguinal hernia surgery a week ago. Okay. I feel very confident that taking my supplements also helped me. And in fact, I actually spoke to my surgeon and said, no, I will not stop the supplements in preparation for the surgery. I'm going to continue the supplements in preparation for my surgery. And here I am standing. I will not dance for you guys because I can't dance well anyway, but I am standing and I feel pretty good. And I do think that the fact that my mitochondria are functioning better and the NRF1 is on board and the NRF2 is on board, I think that that's part of the reason why I've recovered so quickly.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you very much. All right. So we have our dual synergizer, and I do have one more question for Dr. Neil Goodman before we move on to the next pillar of health. I'm sure some of you, maybe 1 or 2 people out here are saying, I already take that. I already take those ingredients that are in that pill that they're talking about. So could you please explain to them the difference in taking them separately versus taking them together in this dual synergizer?
Well, honestly, I don't know why you would take them separately. I think you can take them both simultaneously at the same time. They are synergistic with each other. They were designed that way. If you choose that you want to take the NRF2 in the morning and take the NRF1 in the evening, it really doesn't make much difference. But they both are designed to work together. And as I said, they amplify each other.
But what if I took the ingredients in the NRF2 separately versus taking my NRF2?
Well, okay. So, I mean, if you want to take turmeric, a teaspoon of turmeric and a teaspoon of ashwagandha root and do all those things separately, the problem with that is you could get away with it, but the ratio is what's important. You probably cannot replicate the ratio that's occurring without great difficulty and probably expense. So it makes sense that somebody has already researched this and they have done the studies to show that when it's, I mean, the guy spent 30 years to try to, I mean, he tried a number of different, there was a world famous, almost Nobel Peace Prize scientist who came up with a formulation of Protandim NRF2. And he worked on this for 30 years. And that is what brought us to the patent that LifeVantage purchased. Why would we try to recreate something that was developed by this research Nobel laureate, essentially? And by the way, he was the guy who discovered superoxide dismutase in 1969 and got the award from the Chemistry Society for that. So I wouldn't challenge that.
All righty. Thank you so much. All right. We are going to move on to our third pillar of health, which has to do with our second brain. So I went to nursing school. I had to pass anatomy and physiology and all of these classes, and I only learned about one brain. I thought we only had one brain. So Debbie, could you please come explain to everyone what the second brain is and why it's so important?
I would love to. Thank you, Abby. Of course, your gut is your second brain. Who here loves food? I love food. We have all heard before that you are what you eat, right? It should say you feel what you eat, right? I'm going to give you a perfect example. I was thinking about this when I was getting ready for my presentation. So Dr. Neil Goodman and I have been practicing together for 18 years. So 18 years ago, started my first week in practice with him, and it happened to be National Physician Assistant Day, National PA Day. And Dr. Neil Goodman comes up to me and says, Deb, I want to celebrate your profession. I'm so glad you're working with me. I want to celebrate you. I want to take you to lunch. And I said, awesome. And I'm thinking all morning, this is going to be great. I'm going to, he's a pediatrician. We're going to get some good food, nice healthy salad, something like that, right? Well, those of you that are local will understand these 3 words that I'm about to say to you. Willie's Weenie Wagon. Okay, Willie's Weenie Wagon. Willie, if you're here, we love your food. We really do. But I have to tell you about Willie's Weenie Wagon. I mean, it's fried pork chop sandwiches, fried hot dogs, fried hamburger, oh, it's so good, you guys. Well, guess how I felt the rest of the day? Okay, that is why your gut is your second brain. All right, let's talk about LifeVantage's ProBio. So we're on the 3rd pillar of health. We talk about our body in synergy. Dr. Neil Goodman talked about the NRF2 activator. It's basically getting rid of trash in your body. Dr. Brad Goodman talked about, well, it needs energy to get rid of the trash. Let's get your mitochondria stronger. Well, let's talk about the 3rd pillar of health, our second brain. This is our beautiful intestinal tract from the top to the bottom. So that's our second brain. So what do we know about our enteric nervous system? Your gut has a mind of its own. It's the second brain. So I love to talk about the microbiome. I work in pediatrics. I am filled with a germ warfare all day in my office. Literally, I've been wearing a mask all week long, and I didn't even realize, I wore it like a necklace. The other day I left work and I went to the gas station. I'm pumping gas and I realized my mask is still on. I mean, it is my necklace. I'm facing germs every day. Well, your gut is too. You have something called the gut microbiome. You've got a lot of good bacteria in there, and you have a lot of bad bacteria. This is the craziest thing, you guys, and it's almost gross. If you think about all the bacteria in your gut, and you take all the DNA of all the bacteria in your gut, and you compare it to all the human DNA in your cells, guess what? There's more DNA in the bacteria of your gut, okay? Doesn't it make sense to protect your gut? Get more of the good guys. So we are more microbial than we are human. So this is why probiotics are so important. Anybody take probiotics? Lots of people do. We recommend them all the time. And I'm telling you, now that I take LifeVantage probiotics, I won't take any other one. And I'm going to tell you why. Again, it's a balance, and we want to enhance the good bacteria in our gut. Anybody ever heard of leaky gut? Okay, you have this beautiful gut lining from the top to the bottom, and it is under assault every day. Emotional stress, the foods we eat, Willie's Weenie Wagon. I mean, just everything every day. Doesn't it make sense to protect the gut lining? If you don't protect the gut lining, guess what's going to happen? It's going to weaken. And what comes into your gut, a lot of good stuff we like to filter out into our bodies. But what happens is if you lose the integrity of the gut lining, all those bad things are going to leak out into your system. And guess what? You're going to feel what you eat. You're going to feel the stress in your life. So our gut is our second brain, and it talks to your first brain. There are actual neurotransmitters in your gut that are like the first brain neurotransmitters: serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, talking all day long, even when you sleep. So your gut's job is to absorb, right? Sending signals, protecting your well-being. And it affects how we feel. Guess how I felt after Dr. Neil Goodman took me to lunch that day? I thought, he's going to fire me. I'm just tired. I don't feel good. But you know what? I realized that day, and as I do many days when I eat poorly, that it affects my well-being. So, and the leaky gut has been implicated in things that we see a lot, unfortunately: autism, Down syndrome. So I used to go to the health food store and I go, okay, let me find the one that has the most colony forming units. 6,000, 10,000, 20,000. Which one are you going to pick? The highest number, right? Well, it's not necessarily how many, but where does it go? And this is another reason why I like LifeVantage's ProBiome. So it has 6 very helpful, good colony strains for the good bacteria in your gut. It actually has a very cool BioTrack system, because each part of your gut needs different good bacteria. So this BioTrack system gets in your body and it's released about over a 10-hour period. So it's getting to the part of your gut where those bacteria are needed the most. 6 billion colony forming units to help your trillions of cells in your guts. 60% of it, almost 70% of it, gets to your large intestine. And I don't know about you, and I didn't realize this till recently, but most of your immune system is regulated by your gut. Did you guys know that? Okay. Most of your immune system is regulated by your gut. Another reason why you should protect it. And then LifeVantage just kicked it out again and added Wellmune, which enhances your immune system. Okay. So that is the third pillar of health, your gut. And I bet you guys are going to think about that today, right? Feed your gut the right things. Okay.
Thank you, Debbie. So, of course, I'm going to put her on the spot. Sorry.
I love that.
Before I started with LifeVantage, I went to the health food store and I would buy my Emagrace, the most expensive one, because it was the best, because it was most expensive and it was kept in the refrigerator. But can you tell me exactly how much of that most expensive powdered probiotic was making it to her gut, and why this one is so important and better?
I love that question. Guess what? You wasted your money that day.
I know, I told him.
You wasted your money. This is very, very important. Only 4% of the over-the-counter probiotics get past your stomach acids. 4%. Okay? Remember, it's got to get to where it needs to be and enhance your immune system, which again is regulated in your bowel. So I hate to tell you, Abby, wasted your money that day.
I'm glad it's getting there now. All right. Thank you so much, Debbie. Our next pillar of health has to deal with our first brain. So, Dr. Brad Goodman, could you please come explain to the audience exactly what the brain is made of and why omegas are so important?
Yes, the brain is made of 70% fatty tissue. Okay, so what we really need to do is we need to feed the fat with the proper fats. Okay, so the omega-3s, okay, which is found in the omega plus. So you will hear about the components of the omega plus, because there's more than just the omega in it, which is why I also think it is such an excellent product. But the fatty acids, okay, the omega-3 fatty acids in particular, and the omega-7s are very important, okay, for normal brain structure and brain development, which also helps with your memory, okay, and learning. Okay, by the age of 45, the brain will shrink by 11%. Okay, omega-3s reduce that shrinkage amongst doing many other things.
Thank you so much. So I do have one question before you walk away, since you are an allergist, right? You may have some answers. So if I have a seafood allergy, is it okay for me to take omegas?
Absolutely, and especially with the LifeVantage products, because what you have is, due to the way that they are proprietarily made, you can even track the packages from the fish that were caught in the oil. These are pharmaceutical grade fish oils, okay? So they really do not have any of the allergenic proteins that one would need to worry about. In fact, this has come up several times in my patient population, and it's like, no, absolutely, you are totally fine to go ahead and take this product, even if you were to have severe life-threatening anaphylaxis to fish or to shellfish.
That's good news. Yay.
Basically, the allergenic proteins are taken out. So when you have an allergic reaction to something, you're making an IgE-mediated response to a protein, okay? So if that protein is removed, okay, then you cannot make an allergic IgE-mediated anaphylactic response, okay? It's the same type thing. There's a lot of wives' tales about other oils. So for instance, like peanut oil, okay? So most of my patients, even the ones that truly have peanut allergy, can still have highly refined peanut oil, because the way that it is refined, the proteins that are allergenic are removed.
Thank you so much. All right, Dr. Neil Goodman. We have heard that our omegas now have omega-3, omega-7, and guess what? There's a little extra special something added to our omega. So I'm going to let Dr. Goodman explain that to you, and why these omegas and vitamin D3 is so important.
Thank you. Abby and Brad covered very briefly that you need omega-3s, of course, for brain structure. And it's an oil. Your brain is made of oil and fat, and you need to put that fat back in order to maintain support and structure. So omega-3s, though, have other uses in the body. Besides building healthy brain membranes, they're also important for heart health. They help to reduce cholesterol. They are important in your cellular communication pathway, because your nervous tissue also has that same omega-3, if you will, coating on the nervous tissue, because they come from the brain and work their way through your system. So it helps with nerve transmission, and then ultimately helps muscle function as well. And the nice thing is that it's also anti-cancer and anti-diabetes. So it's really a very, very useful thing. Now, omega-3s are different than omega-7s. Now, they put in the LifeVantage product omega-7s as well. And what derives the name has to do with where, this is chemistry now, guys, but whether or not some of the chemical markers on the oil are at the 3rd carbon, or on the 7th carbon, or the 9th carbon, or the 6th carbon. Omega-6s, everybody's heard of omega-6s. Well, that's in vegetable oil. We have far too much omega-6s in our diet. And it really, you want to have a lower ratio than 12 to 1 ratio. We're probably oversaturated with oil. So we need more and more omega-3s in our diet to compensate for that. And so that's why we want to get these in. And you want to avoid the omega-6s. But the omega-7s are also helpful to us if we take those in, and they're hard to come by. They're anti-inflammatory and anti-diabetes as well. And then they're also great for our connective tissue. And then the last kicker is that they were smart enough to put a vitamin D content into this Omega Plus. That's why it's called Omega Plus, which you need for your bones and your immune system and your heart and your prostate and breast, as far as protection from cancer. So it's very smart, since most of us will be vitamin deficient for vitamin D as we get older, because we're not drinking enough milk or don't like it anymore. It's good that they included this in the product.
Thank you so much. So if I'm already taking vitamin D3, is it okay for me to take this with it?
Sure, absolutely. The general recommendation for vitamin D is about 600 international units. This product has 800 in it. It's just a little bit over, but to be honest with you, most of us are far more deficient than that. And if in fact you truly have a vitamin D deficiency, oftentimes you need in the thousands. So wouldn't be unreasonable to take 2,000 or 5,000 units of vitamin D as an addition.
Thank you so much. So my Emma Grace takes 3 of these omegas a day, and then she's also on 1,600 international units additional to this vitamin D3. So it's really important that if you do have a vitamin D3 deficiency that you continue taking what you were taking, okay? All right, so we're going to move on. Debbie, if you could come up and explain this picture. So as a child, my mom would make these nasty things. I'd have to eat them because she loved to make them, and she thought we all liked them, and they were called salmon croquettes. And I didn't want to eat those things. No, I don't think she's in here. Thank goodness she's watching. So I never liked those, Mom. But anyway, I would have to burp them up all day. They were awful, and I think I'll never eat another one in my life because I had to eat them so much. It must have been one of her most favorite things to make, or only thing that she made us. And so, Debbie, could you explain to everyone why our omegas are a little different and we don't have those fish burps after we take them?
I love that. I love babies. Okay, so we talked about omega-3s and how important they are for your brain. You know what, you guys? They're important for your whole body. Every cell, all 37 trillion cells in your body need support, okay? So that's true. Who's taken a fish oil and burped up fishy, yucky taste all day? Well, there's a reason for that. Guess what? It's oxidized. It's rancid. It's not good for you. So if you've been taking a fish oil that tastes fishy, I want you to go home today and throw it out and order our omega fish oils today. You guys, I'm a lactation consultant. I understand the importance of good fat, right? Starting from little ones. These are so pure and taste good. They have a lemon lime flavor, and they're yummy. We have kids that bite into them. I'd pop them open. I'd put them in breast milk or baby's formula. They're really that safe and taste that good. And like Dr. Brad Goodman said, they are 100% traceable, boat to bottle. How cool is that? So they're not rancid, no yucky fish smell, no yucky fish burps. So,
so we have another question. That's
okay. Abby and
You're
your
just feeding
questions.
them to me. I like these questions. Okay, so I do have a question before you sum this all up for us. If I am taking prescription medications that have been prescribed to me, is it okay for me to take this Vitality Stack that you're talking about? Are there any drug interactions?
As far as we know, there are no drug interactions, okay? You know, we talk about this again. These are nutraceuticals. They're nutrition for your body. They're not pharmaceuticals. So yes, Abby, as far as we know, they're not contraindicated with taking with any prescribed medications.